What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we got my first official NBA mock draft. Now, I know a ton about these players. As you guys know, this is a college basketball channel. I've watched college basketball all season long, every single day, so I know these players really well, and currently watching the NBA playoffs right now as well. Along with the NFL draft going on right now and just about over, it's got me in the mood to get creating some NBA mock drafts. So I'm ready to get it started. I'm using this site here. It's called Sportskeeda. It seems to be a pretty good site, and it actually sims the lottery for you. So you can get a random lottery pool like how it's going to be in real life. So I figured we can do that until we get an official lottery results. So let's go ahead and do our lottery. Here we go. We got the Wizards didn't get in the top three. That's kind of rough. And the Rockets actually winning the lottery. That is insane. That could be the missing piece for them, as we can go ahead and lock it in. I'm pretty sure no matter who gets the number one pick in this draft, they are going to be taking Cooper Flagg. And that is such an easy pick for the Rockets as well. He would immediately improve this team. As far as the Rockets, they're already one of the best defensive teams in the country, so to add Cooper Flagg's defense on there, not only can he guard the perimeter as a 6'10" wing forward, but he is going to be able to block shots too as well. He can play the 3 or the 4. He can stretch the floor. He can play make. He's going to be a good rebounder for his position, and he's just a 3-level scorer all the way around. Definitely the perfect fit here for the Rockets to really elevate them to that next level. They already barely got the 2 seed this year in the Western Conference, which was a very competitive conference, and like I said, one of the best defensive teams in the country. Cooper Flagg's only going to add to that. If they were to win the lottery this year, that would be just absolutely insane. But before we go any further, I just wanted to go ahead and make that pick because it was so obvious. And the Rockets get it in this situation. But subscribe if you guys are new. Hit that like button if you guys enjoy. We got many more NBA mock drafts coming your way. I think we're only going to do the lottery for this one, but our next one is going to be the full first round 100%, and it should be coming in out probably within a week or so. And we do a ton of college basketball content here on the channel. We've been doing a ton of transfer portal stuff, a ton of big news going down this off season, so definitely subscribe if you guys haven't already. And yeah, let's get into the Jazz pick, which for me, again, is a pretty easy pick. I feel like the Jazz really do need a point guard, and Dylan Harper, to me, there can be an argument for some other players like an Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, or even a Trey Johnson. Honestly, for me, I can't believe he's down at number 9 on their board, but I do really like this site. This is a good site. This is the best NBA mock simulator site that I have found. Sportskeeda if you guys want to make your own. But Dylan Harper would be perfect for the Jazz. They need a franchise player, a franchise point guard on this team, superstar. Dylan Harper can 100% be that guy. I think perfect fit here for the Jazz. If the Jazz get a top 2 pick, they will be 100% happy getting either Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper, in my opinion. Now, this next pick is pretty interesting. I feel like for the Trailblazers, getting the number 3 pick is very helpful for their situation because they have a lot of guards. They just took Donovan Clingan in last year's draft and picked up DeAndre Ayton, who is still a good young center, not too long ago. So they're kind of good on the center department. They're kind of good. They have so many good guards right now. They kind of need a wing. So it makes it pretty obvious for me, for the Trailblazers, to take Ace Bailey. Now, Ace Bailey isn't the number 3 player in the class, in my opinion, but for the Trailblazers case, I think that he should be their number 2, probably right behind Cooper Flagg. So I like where the Trailblazers fell in this lottery simulation here. That would be a really good get for the Trailblazers, a perfect fit to plug in there and be a pure scorer. Ace Bailey, he definitely needs to develop as far as playmaking, but as far as his scoring ability, he can drive, he's athletic, he can shoot the midi, he can shoot the 3 ball, and contested shots, tough shots, pretty much any type of shot you can make. Ace Bailey can get it done for you, and I feel like the Trailblazers could really benefit from a player like that. So that is an easy number 3 pick for me for the Trailblazers. I think VJ Edgecombe and Trey Johnson might be higher on my personal NBA draft board, but for the Trailblazers, I definitely think Ace Bailey is 100% the perfect fit there. Then we do have the Charlotte Hornets. Now, the Charlotte Hornets could go with either, honestly, Trey Johnson or VJ Edgecombe, in my opinion. Now, I kind of thought they had their center of the future with Mark Mitchell. They tried to trade him away to the Lakers at the trade deadline. So do they feel some type of way about him? Are they going to try to move on from him? Because if so, Common Maluach is sitting right there and is a great center, and also Derek Queen. But if you are going to keep Mark Mitchell, which they tried to get rid of him, I do think a 2 guard to pair there with LaMelo Ball and with Brandon Miller there at the 1 and the 3 would be perfect. Now, VJ Edgecombe, I think, is going to be the pick here for me at shooting guard. You could go with him or Trey Johnson. Both, I think, are going to be really good three-point shooters. Trey Johnson probably the better three-point shooter at this point, but VJ Edgecombe is probably the most athletic player in this draft. He is going to be able to have some highlight dunks. He's going to be able to play defense. Tall, good size shooting guard, and I think a perfect fit right next to LaMelo, especially if he shoots like he has the second half of the season with the Baylor Bears. I really do think that VJ Edgecombe is going to do wonders for the Charlotte Hornets team. And then we have the Washington Wizards, which are my favorite team in the NBA, and they fell here in this mock draft to number 5. I really hope they are able to lock in a top 3 pick, but with the players that are available on the board, you got Common Maluach and Derek Queen and Trey Johnson, which in my opinion are like the 3 best players still on the board. And the Wizards probably aren't going to draft any of those players just because they have Jordan Poole at the 2 guard. They just drafted Alex Sarr with the number 2 pick last year to play center. So it kind of puts them in an interesting position here where they definitely could go with one of the point guards on the board, which is Kasparas Jakušionis and also Jeremiah Fears. I think are 2 very good point guards, but you kind of have some promise there with Bub Carrington as well. I really do think the Wizards are banking on trying to get a player like Cooper Flagg with the number 1 pick. I think that it would help them so much and be the missing piece to this team. But I am going to go with my top point guard on the board at this point, and Jeremiah Fears, to go to the Washington Wizards. I think Jeremiah Fears is really being slept on. He is a guy who is maybe the best dribbler in this draft class. He is a great playmaker, super underrated playmaker as far as dribbling and passing the ball and being able to get downhill, finish under the rim. Very good at finishing under the rim and a really good shooter. I really like Jeremiah Fears. I think he's a very underrated player in this draft class. He's going to go to the Washington Wizards here at number 5. New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans Pelicans, for me, I feel like this is a position where they probably try to get their center of the future. There are 2 very good centers on the board right now in Common Maluach and Derek Queen, both who I think are going to be starters in the NBA 100%. I'm going to go with my favorite center prospect in this draft in Derek Queen. I think that Derek Queen, he just has the upside to do the things that centers aren't really typically able to do as far as putting the ball on the floor and driving. He can still rebound, block shots, score in the post for sure. He's very good at all those things, and he has shown the promise and potential to be able to shoot the 3 ball as well, and you are going to need that in your center, especially if you do plan on keeping Zion Williamson, which I'm hoping the Pelicans are planning on doing. We'll see what happens. But if you're going to have Zion at your 4, I think having a guy like Derek Queen, who hopefully can develop into stretching the floor as your 5, is going to be very key So we got the New Orleans Pelicans going with Derek Queen here at pick number 6. Next up here at number 7, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, who right now are the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. They're up 3-0 and on the Memphis Grizzlies in the first round. And I think there's a clear choice for them to take. It is the best player available in this draft still at this point, and that's going to be Trey Johnson, a shooting guard. Now, is he going to start on this Oklahoma City Thunder team? Honestly, possibly at the 2 guard. I know J-Dub, slide him to the 3. Let Trey Johnson, I think he can win the spot there at the 2. And then obviously you got SGA at the 1. I feel like he can win it at least maybe after a season. Like, he is a very good player, a great shooter, a great scorer. Trey Johnson, I think, is a super underrated player. I think he is a top 5 player in this draft class. And even if he does come off the bench, he definitely could come off as a 6th man and give other teams buckets. So I think that is the perfect pick here for Oklahoma City. If they have the chance to draft him, I think they have to do it because he is the best player on the board at this point. And with OKC, who doesn't really have any super glaring needs at this point, I think you go in and bring in not only the best rookie still available, but one that is going to come in pro-ready to give other teams buckets. Trey Johnson is that guy. Brooklyn Nets up here at number 8. Now, where do the Nets go here? They pretty much need everything. So at this point, do you go best player available, or do you go with a guy who maybe has the highest upside still on the board? Now, I think the best player available at this point is going to be Kaman Malawach, the center from Duke. I think that he is going to be a starting center in the NBA for a very, very long time. He's a great shot blocker. He has the potential to shoot the 3 ball and a great rebounder and just plays his position well. I think that he is going to be a great player in the league. I think they go with a guy that has the higher upside at this point in the draft to be a superstar in the league. They need it, and that is Kasparas Jakušionis. And a point guard from Illinois. He's a tall point guard at 6'6", one of the best playmakers, best passers in this draft class. Yes, he does have some turnover problems. He's going to have to clean this up, but he has like that Luka Doncic type of build from the point guard position. People are going to try to compare him to a Luka Doncic a lot. Now, does he have that level of potential? I don't know. That's very, very high ceiling, but I do think he does have the potential to be the guy on an NBA team, and that is what the Nets need, especially at the point guard position, somebody who can really control the game, and if he can clean up on the turnovers, he can 100% do that for the Nets here with pick number 8. That is pretty good value in my opinion. Next up, we got the Toronto Raptors here at number 9, and at this point, with the point guards that went off the board and Jeremiah Fears and Kasparas Jakušionis, I was going to say the Raptors are hoping, honestly, to get Dylan Harper or one of those 2 other point guards in this draft. But with the players available, I say they go ahead and get their center of the future here with Kaman Malawach. I just think he is the best player on the board. You go ahead and get him, and you have your starting center for a very, very long time. I think that is good value. Yes, you do have Jakob Poeltl down there at the 5, but I think Malawach is going to come in and immediately improve the defense on the interior and also just be better in the long run. You have your center of the future if you go ahead and take Malawach with this pick. Then you do have the San Antonio Spurs, and San Antonio, a very good team. Obviously have Victor Wembanyama down at the center position. Got Stephon Castle, who showed some real promise as a 2 guard. in his rookie season this past year, and picked up De'Aaron Fox to play the 1. So it's looking like the Spurs really need some wings here, and there are a few good ones still on the board at this point. And I think the perfect pick for them at this point, back-to-back Duke players going, Con Knipple. Con Knipple is going to be one of the best three-point shooters in this draft, and he is going to be a player who can play the 3, possibly the 2 if you want him to, and just be a knockdown shooter on this team and really stretch the floor. I think that Popovich is going to love him. The Spurs are going to love him. He's going to be a perfect fit on this team, and that would be an amazing get here with the 10th pick for the San Antonio Spurs. Next up, we do have the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat usually get the best out of their players that they do end up drafting. So which direction do they want to go here? They do have Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. Those are your locked in positions at this point, but they need some help around them. So honestly, you probably got to go best player available. I'm going to say that the Miami Heat take a little bit of a shot at the tall guard from BYU and Igor Demin. Now, Igor Demin, if you just look at the stats, you're going to say, oh, he shoots under 30% from the three-point line. What are we doing? But I personally trust the Heat to develop that three-point shot, because if you were watching Igor Demin later in the season, especially in the March Madness tournament, you can see that he was lighting it up from 3 and lighting it up from NBA range, three-point range. So Igor Demin, I think, is going to be a fantastic shooter, and if any team is going to get it out of him, it is going to be the Miami Heat, and I think it's just going to be a perfect fit. I think at this point, with the players available, Igor Demin has the highest amount of potential, and he can be your point guard because he has elite playmaking skills as well. He's going to be able to be the point guard of this Miami Heat team if they want him to. I trust them to develop him, and he goes here number 11 to the Heat. Next up at number 12, we do have the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Mavericks could go a couple different directions with this pick. They did trade away Luka Doncic and get Anthony Davis in return, so you got to assume that Anthony Davis is going to play the 4, and they got Derek Lively down low to play the 5, so their front court is kind of set there, and there are a couple of pretty good front court pieces here available for them. And of course, they do have Kyrie Irving at the point guard position, who is going to be coming off of injury, so it's looking like they're going to try to get a wing most likely. And in my opinion, I think the best wing available is going to be from UConn, Liam McNeely. He's going to be a very good shooter. He's going to be able to play defense. I think that they can work with him, develop him nicely to be a solid piece on this Dallas Mavericks team. I think that that is the best pick for them here at number 12. Number 13, we have the San Antonio Spurs once again. Now, I'm going to go a different direction with this pick. Instead of just loading up with another wing for them, I'm going to go with Thomas Sorber, who I think at this point is probably the best player available in this draft. Yes, he is a center, and you do have Victor Wembanyama, but I know that if he does end up being a good center, you could actually move Wembanyama to the 4. You really could, and play Thomas Sorber at the 5, but at the very least, you have a backup center now for Wembanyama who can come off the bench and give you some solid minutes at the center position. So either way, however you want to use this pick, I think it is the best player available, and it could be a good fit for the Spurs team. Whether you want to move Wemby to the 4 and have Thomas Sorber play the 5, another center who projects to be a good three-point shooter as well, or he could just be a backup to Wembanyama and let Victor play the 5-man. So either way, I think this is a good use of the pick here for number 13 for the San Antonio Spurs. And finally, at number 14, we have the Atlanta Hawks. Just took Zach Rizache with the number 1 pick last season. They still got Trae Young. They were unable to make the playoffs out of the play-in this season. So what direction do they want to go with here? I think they could really go with anyone. I am going to have the Hawks go with, in my opinion, the best player available at this point, and that is Colin Murray-Boyles. I think from South Carolina. He was a super solid scorer for that team. And I do think that the Atlanta Hawks need pretty much everything to surround a guy like Trae Young and their new number 1 pick, Zachary Rizache. I don't think Trae Young is going to be a Atlanta Hawk very much longer. I think that they have failed to build around him. They had a couple of good runs. They had one run to the Eastern Conference Finals. But right now, with how that roster is looking, it is going to take some time to build around him once again. So I do think that not too far in the future, he will get traded. So maybe they want to head towards point guard, maybe a Walter Clayton Jr. I don't think that would be a bad idea to try to get a replacement for him. But assuming he is on the team, I think you got to try to build around him. I think Colin Murray-Boyles would be the best player for you to be able to do that with this number 14 pick. But let me know what you guys think about my mock draft down below in the comment section, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new, because we're going to do these a lot more often, all the way leading into the NBA draft lottery when we get the official lottery set, and all the way to the NBA draft. So make sure you guys subscribe if you guys haven't already. And you guys, thank you so much for watching.